Let's just incarcerate our way out of the fear of crime. And that's kind of really what it was, because in all actuality, since the early 1990s, crime has fallen probably over 33% nationally. And in Louisiana, it's also fallen, but you would never believe that based on media reports. Crime has actually fallen. The per capita crime rate. Now, some people will say, well, you see, that's why crime has fallen. Not true. Every study has come back and said somewhere between 10 and some go as high as 25%, about a quarter of that factor of crime falling as results of incarceration. The rest of incarceration, and you got to remember, incarceration since the late 80s has grown about 400%, and so that's significant. And including in Louisiana, the number of lifers, which is since 1989 has grown 7 times. We had 700 lifers in 1989. We have right at 4,950 today. And that's because at one time they went home. There was a release mechanism. Now it's just a stacking mechanism. They just stack, and the only thing that really changes it, and it's only been of the last year or so that's put any dent in that change. But up until then, it was death. That was the only thing that changed it, and they weren't dying any faster than they were coming in. Matter of fact, they were coming in a lot faster. So when you get into this issue, it gets a little complicated. Sentencing became more political than it became good policy, and fear has a lot to do with it. Getting reelected has a lot to do with it. The media's reporting of it has a lot to do with it, and how they report it, because it sells. It's people turn on the television. There's the old saying, if it bleeds, it leads. So you hear it over and over and over again. Yes, I'm not saying we don't have issues. There are certain places in every city in this country that has far too much violence. They know where it's at. They know the reasons for it. Now, do they have the will to change that? But as a whole, just last year, a report came out. The top 6 American cities had marked decreases in violent crime. Now, if you put in Chicago and Baltimore and Baton Rouge, unfortunately, in that, well, you're going to see a blip. But when you put them all together, it's a decrease. New York, Los Angeles, Houston all saw significant drops in violent crime.